Hi.
Hello,
Hi, Lakshmi. Hello, everybody who is watching us. Go ahead,
hello.
Lakshmi. Take it.
Very good evening, a very good Sunday evening to everyone who is watching us, and a warm welcome as well. So, I'll begin by introducing the center that we both of us work for, that is Athar Center for Psychotherapy. We are based out of Thane, Mumbai, and the center was started in 2016. So we provide specialized trainings in different modalities of psychotherapy. We also provide psychotherapy services at affordable rates, and we our main vision is to integrate Eastern psychological principles with evidence-based Western psychotherapy, and we do this through transforming tools, through transforming workshops, webinars, so on and so forth. So this center was started by Asira Chirmule. She is a trained REBT and CBT therapist from Beck Institute and Albert Ellis Institute. She is also an ACT trained therapist, a Gottman leader. She has a lot of skills to her and a great vision. She is very much tuned and aligned to Indian psychological principles as well. So it's a great joy for both of us to work with her. And Anuja is an assistant psychologist at Atha. I have personally learned a lot from her experience of practicing therapy in the past 1 year. And she also has her private practice. And she's a trained CBT, CBT and REBT
And
therapist as well. And I am Lakshmi. I am under training right now. I'm a junior psychologist at Atha. And yeah, joy to be with all of you here. Over to you, Anuj.
thank you so much, Lakshmi, for I did not mention you to include my introduction, but thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. We are missing Asira ma'am right now as we speak about this. So, coming to today's topic, which is resilience and our stories of resilience, as the title goes. So, Lakshmi, I think I would want to keep this very conversational in nature, where I'm also learning a lot from your personal life in our everyday interactions. I just want to bring it to this platform now, is what I'm thinking. So, first thing I would like to start by saying that resilience is very different for everybody, right? Like it will look very different on me, and it'll look very different on you. So there's no one definition that we can have of resilience that way,
True.
right? So Lakshmi, I would like to ask you, what is it that resilience means for you?
Um, Resilience to me means also bouncing back from a difficult situation, but more than that, going through a challenge with grace,
Hmm.
loving my, accepting myself through that process, even if there is a lot of mess involved over there, but still trying to move through it with patience, with grace, accepting all the overwhelm that comes, and after the challenge is over, trying to reflect back and see what the learnings have been like.
Right. I think very I was very inspired when you said this word, that walking through challenges with grace. I think that part is extremely important. While we are going through a particular challenge, the feelings of overwhelm are so strong that we can't see straight, right? Like you can't see straight ahead, or you can't even sit and reflect on what your previous achievements have been like, right? So I think I would like to add to what you said. When you said that resilience is walking through it and sitting and reflecting, that is the part which resonates the most with me. For me, accepting, acknowledging that particular challenge, that particular overwhelming situation is important. Like if I don't acknowledge it, I tend to, my chances of bouncing back are a little less. So I think I would start by acknowledging, and then of course what you said about grace and reflecting. the reflecting part is where my resilience lies, I feel.
Hmm.
uh, in that particular area, I tend to be very, like, in that particular challenge, I tend to be very, like the horse, right?
Yeah,
Like I can't figure it out. But in the reflection part, I do see that, oh, and it's like a sudden moment of realization for me that, okay, this happened, and okay, it happened, it was bad, but hey, I'm here. I
true.
think that hey, I'm here is what resilience means to me. What do you think? What do you think, Lakshmi?
Completely agreed. Especially because when we are going through challenges, as you said, uh, we cannot look. We tend to forget that we have been through and been through successfully through many challenges in the past, and
Very
we.
true.
So I would also connect this to self blame, to guilt, to anger, to other such emotions that
Hmm.
happen when we are
Hmm.
going through challenges. And maybe I would also highlight the importance of self compassion.
Oh, yes. I think, yeah, what we tend to do, like you mentioned, all of these ways of thinking, one thing that does happen often with most of us is a way of thinking that, okay, I am not going to be able to go through this.
Exactly.
And at that point, I think before, like, the self compassion also can come in the way of saying that, um, you know, I think I won't be able to go through it, but I am going to be accepting of myself in
Hmm.
whatever that situation is. I think self compassion for me shows up like that. Like, how do you practice self compassion in form of, like, building resilience?
I like what you said about accepting myself, that particular statement that you used. I think all of us can
Hmm.
benefit from that.
For
Uh,
sure.
as for me, um, I think I would like to tell myself that I have uh, been through worse in the past, and
Mm-hmm.
I am here. I'm here, and right now, I do have the capacity to face this, and I am doing my best. I think that one sentence, I
Mm-hmm.
am doing my best, uh,
Right.
that can help a lot.
Yeah, that's a very powerful statement you said. I feel that, I'm doing my best. We and I think that comparison, like you mentioned, also comes in case of perfectionism. So you can also sometimes go ahead and say that, okay, I have to be perfect at this particular task, and that sometimes makes it a challenge in itself. When it's not, right? And then going ahead and saying the statement that, okay, I will try my best. So I think that's a very good insight. What do you tend to do in a stressful situation?
In a stressful situation, my earlier I think it was more of reactions, but right now I'm trying to take a pause and
Mm-hmm.
see why, from where that situation is arising, and what kind of emotions it is giving rise to, and just what can I do about it in this particular moment.
Okay, so like the more problem solving route, maybe.
Yeah, or just like trying to self soothe or calm down in a way.
Mm-hmm. Right. I would also like to ask our viewers, what does resilience mean for them? And how have they come across resilience in their daily life? Because
Hmm.
everybody's stories are so different that it makes me just curious to know this. So please feel free to add things in the comment section. We would love to know your inputs while we are having this conversation. So
Uh,
yeah, Lakshmi, go on, please.
I also have a question.
Yes.
How would you um, also like to define or look at resilience?
Okay. Um, I would like to look at, so this is a very fantasy based thing, but I personally do this and I feel that it will benefit at least somebody out there. So, in a stressful situation, I tend to go through this. very common, very normal process of, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm such a, I'm such a failure at this, and all of this self blaming and all of this goes on, right? And after that, there comes a point where I start recognizing. So, for like recognizing and identifying these points where I tend to pull myself down. So I'm
Hmm.
doing the exact opposite of what resilience is. Like I realized that in that moment, that resilience is all about bouncing back, and here I am sitting and pulling myself down constantly in an already difficult situation. So for me, resilience starts at the point of recognition, at that awareness point,
Hmm.
and then going ahead and thinking about this fantasy land about how my success story is going to be like. Envisioning is what comes first for me when it comes to resilience. That there has been no story in this world which does not have like a setback or a shortcoming, and how they have also risen through all of it. So I like to imagine that, okay, I'm giving an interview someday, and I'm talking about my story of reaching this point in life. So that actually gives me inspiration. That helps me bounce back. That, okay, normalizing it, that everybody has struggles and everybody has gone through things, and then envisioning myself at a place where I have gone through all of it and reached somewhere. So that is what I see resilience like.
That's actually very beautiful. Recognizing your patterns and
Mhm.
envisioning a positive picture for yourself.
Yeah. Like, exactly. Thank you, Renuka, for mentioning that. It is actually a summary of what we have been talking about so far. Thank you so much for being here, Renuka, talking to us. So now I want to come to like the next part, which most of us struggle with, right? This is, how do we experience it in our daily life? And then what point do you recognize that, okay, this is what resilience was in a past experience, that I've managed to bounce back from something? What would you say, Lakshmi?
Um, for me, right now, I think it's happening after that particular situation is over, or somewhere after the intensity, the peak has gone
Hmm.
by. When the
Right.
situation is very intense, it's very difficult to recognize how you are going through it or what exactly is happening, because the emotions are very overwhelming. But I think
Mm-hmm.
one aspect that also helps is talking to trusted loved ones who can
Mm-hmm.
show you a mirror, and also being vulnerable, being comfortable with vulnerability and being comfortable with discomfort and how everything is panning out. And yeah, after the peak is gone, actually you are able to see that, oh, you have done a lot, you have been through a lot. So at this
Mm-hmm.
point is when I realize, okay, I have been resilient.
Right. So, like, continue to walk, and then maybe taking a step and then looking back might be the way to go about it.
Yeah.
So, okay, that is interesting. Because in that particular, so I think we function like slightly different here, where you said that after the peak is gone, you tend to look back. I tend to be in the situation and look forward to what is going to happen, like envisioning it and all of that. So I think these are two very interesting strategies that you could use. Um, yeah. So how do you go about like building this resilience, if you had to give an answer? Of course, we're not experts on resilience, but how would
Hmm.
you build it?
I would build it by strengthening my mind. So there is this one thing that I've heard. I don't remember the quote, but you work with the mind when it is silent, when there is calm, so that the mind helps you when there are storms.
Wow. Hmm.
So one strategy I would like to practice myself, it's not that I'm very regular at it, is playing with my thoughts and emotions on a regular basis, so that when something actually comes up, I'm at least a little more ready to face it.
Hmm. So this is like a general strategy or something that you personally use?
I personally use it.
Okay.
Preparing
Uh,
my mind when.
right. Okay. I think that the quote that you mentioned was extremely powerful, and then like working on your mind in silence and then uh,
Yes,
trying to manage the boat, right? And going ahead. We have a comment.
from Leon.
Accepting the situation and preparing for action. 2017, I was diagnosed with pineal gland tumor in the last stage. Instead of panicking, accepted the fact, prepared myself to mentally to face it. I think that's very inspiring. Thank you, Len, for sharing that with us. And more power to you. And more, I think it's very. We are honored to have people like him to join us watching this, and thank you so much for sharing that with us. Accepting the fact, I think that is more powerful than anything. Being able to uh, acknowledge the fact that there is a storm. So,
Yes.
right, yes, coming back to what Lakshmi were talking about. Uh,
So
can
I
you
would.
hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can, I can.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, you just looked confused. Yeah, go on, please.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you the same question. What would that one situation be in your day-to-day life where you think you have really practiced resilience?
Oh, okay. This is very recent, actually. Um, so so I was preparing for my further studies, and there were a few applications that did not quite go well, and so I was very hopeful about this, that okay, this will work out, this will happen, and all of that. But after like getting a few rejection applications, I like my will to fight it was like going down a little bit. I was slowly going under the shell, and I came to a point where I was like putting myself down constantly. I think for me at that point, one was recognizing this particular fact, that I'm putting myself down, and just asking myself that this is not helping me at all. It's not helping the situation at all. It's not taking me forward, and it's just making me feel stuck. So that, and then working on, of course, like it's easier said than done, like recognizing and accepting it, and then trying to work out on a plan that is maybe like a plan B for you. So in itself, this particular thing is extremely difficult to do, that to say it. But it took me a while to sort of formulate the next steps, or maybe what I'm going to do ahead, and things like that. So acknowledging and just being there for myself whenever I needed it.
Hmm.
That is one factor that I practiced while going through it. And another thing is songs. Oh my god, I can't stop focus, like eh, talking about the influence that songs have on me. There are like I think there are a few songs that I have collected over time, and they help me, like they really empower me in some way.
Hmm.
One of them is one of my favorites, and Lakshmi, I know you're tired of hearing this, but Kinare from Queen. And I think that's such a strengthening song, and such a song full of resilient beliefs. That is one song. Then I think there's one song by Katy Perry called Roar. I think that is also one song that puts me into that mood of trying to do something and fight back. Do you use like films, or music or anything to help build resilience?
Um, I think my go-to mechanism for resilience is japa. Um,
Huh.
yeah, I connect to the form of the deity, the divine energy that I love the most, and that
Mm-hmm.
is where I would say that my source of strength lies. Not very much in the outside, but inside as well. That's where I go to for resilience.
Wow, that's wonderful, I think. So I think you focused more on the fact that okay, I'm going to focus on myself and then working with the outer forces and trying to gain strength from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Uh,
actually is very beautiful.
and what you also said, being there for yourself, that was the one line that I caught.
Mm.
Because most of the times during challenging situations, we tend to abandon ourselves. So,
Yeah.
being there, looking within for that strength is as important as seeking the right support could be.
For sure, for sure. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I would also like our viewers to add, Leon sir has added here. We would be glad to know what your strategies are when it comes to practicing resilience, right? It's again very different, right? Like I will suggest one strategy, but it might not necessarily work out for you, right? One thing I also like to add here is the way that I practice it is by this is a very Asira ma'am way of working through things. She always emphasizes the importance of credit list. So I
Hmm.
like to have a credit list for myself. Like even when I'm working through a regular work day, I like to have like a done list with myself. So I'm writing done list, titling today's date, and then going ahead and canceling the task out. I think at the end of the day, when I look at that done list, it also builds this consistently, like a small dosages every single day that I am doing something worthwhile, or I am, or it this was like a particularly difficult task for me, but I did still manage to cross it out. So at the end of the day, I think it's important that you sit back and reflect on your day's work and giving
Hmm.
yourself that credit and creating that credit list for yourself.
That is so true. And again, that ties back, I think, to two things. One is self compassion for yourself, acknowledging yourself. And the
Yeah,
second is preparing your mind, strengthening your mind on a daily basis.
exactly. Yes. I think those two really go well together. Yeah.
Yeah,
And one more thing that I would like to add is sharing your stories of vulnerability. Like the entire point of this webinar was that, right? Like the point of sharing that vulnerability is normal. I think this will also be a point that all of us can go back to whenever we are facing some difficulties or not facing any difficulties, talking about the points of vulnerabilities, right? I
very
think we
true.
have a viewer.
Chaitanya.
I realized it was important to indulge myself with the sort of content and activities that I identified with or something that I believe in. I would watch movies and songs that inspire me because of things. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much for talking about that. Might not go my way all the time, but we can always come back. Yes, for sure. Um, yes, daily inventory helps for sure. Yes. I think one thing that all of us can practice, I think, post this webinar is going ahead and creating daily inventories for
Creating
ourselves
checklists.
for whatever we are doing and whatever we are not doing, and identifying these points of struggles for ourselves as well.
True.
So, yeah. So, yeah, please go on. You have something to add?
No, I will. So, where were we before you were reading that comment?
I was talking about my strategy to work with resilience.
Yeah. Apart from the daily inventory, anything else that you would like to
Um,
mention?
I think there are a lot of strategies that come with self compassion, self care. And I think all of it eventually, bit by bit, adds up to you having that strength within yourself to fight difficult circumstances. And I genuinely believe that every person has it in them to fight any difficult circumstance that comes their way. It's just that it takes a little bit of time for us, like different scales of time, to come to a point where we have fought it or to overcome it. So
Hmm.
acknowledging your own personal strengths is what I would say. Hi
Very
Lakshmi,
true.
I think I
And
lost you
also,
there.
uh,
Yeah. You're back. You're back. Go
Yeah.
on. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, vulnerability is another point that we had also mentioned, and you also reiterated
Yes.
right now. Being
Right.
very vulnerability is being, I think, comfortable in your own skin.
Hmm. Yeah, I think both of these concepts again tie back together. I like how this webinar has gone like in a full circle where we spoke about
Circles.
the factors and they're tying back to the things that we're saying in the end. So great. So, like you said, vulnerability, being comfortable in your own skin, and then I think that strength also comes from vulnerability. So being comfortable in your own skin will lend you that strength to fight the particular circumstance.
True.
And I think I lost you there, but did you hear the point that I made about every person has it in them to fight certain
Yes, I
like also
understand.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So would you like to like sum it all up as we are approaching like the end of the broadcast?
Yeah, sure. I would sum it up, and you can add to it after.
For sure, for sure.
So, we spoke about acknowledging the fact that we are in that particular challenge, acknowledging ourselves as we go through it, recognizing the patterns, recognizing what is happening, and recognizing the fact that we might be pulling ourselves down,
Yeah.
and what we can do to be there for ourselves and uplift ourselves in that situation. So, I think I would definitely like to add an Indian psychology twist to this.
For
In
sure.
the Bhagavad Gita, there is this one of my favorite shlokas is Uttharet Atman Atmanam na Atmanam avasadhayet Atmaiva Atmano Bandhuhu Atmaiva Ripuratmana. So basically, it is lifting yourself by yourself.
Hmm.
So when the mind is when you and your mind are best friends, y'all can lift yourself up together. But if your mind becomes your enemy, then that is a lot of trouble. So
Yeah.
that is again one thing that points us towards the fact that resilience lies within us,
Hmm.
and we all have it in us. So
For
these were
sure.
some things when we discussed about the daily inventory,
Yeah.
uh, making a credit list, which ties into self compassion, vulnerability, being comfortable in your own skin. Uh, yeah. And anything else that you would like to add?
I think my favorite takeaway from this entire thing was the point of vulnerability, where sharing our stories of vulnerability can also be a point of great resilience, right? Where you can also like everybody, please do this. If you go back and then you are facing some trouble, you can stand in front of the mirror and then give an interview for your future success story. So I think envisioning that it will have a fruitful outcome to whatever struggles you're going through. I think that is one point that I would like to add to what you just said. But great summary. I love how you picked up everything. Thank you so much for joining me today. I would also like to thank our audience who was there consistently through this process. Thank you so much for also interacting with us.
Yes.
So, yeah, and finally, thank you, Asira ma'am, for giving us this opportunity and this platform to actually talk about our personal experiences and coming here and, yeah, working through this. Thank you so much, Asira ma'am. Thank you, audience. Thank you, Lakshmi. I had a great time chatting with you about this. Yes, thank you so much, sir, for joining in as well. Okay, so I would like to sum up by saying that we all have our stories of resilience, and we have it in us to fight through any circumstance. So if you're looking for a sign that when will this struggle that you're particularly experiencing will come to an end, spoiler alert, it will, and you got it in you to work through it. Also, if you're going through a concern, a severe mental health concern, this is not an intended therapy session or does not equate to a therapy session. So, if you're going through something severe, we would like to inform you that it's better to seek professional help for any issues that you might be going through from a mental health professional. Yeah, okay. And a little about Ather and what's coming up at Ather in the next 1 month. We have a lot of things going on at Ather currently. We have three study circles coming up on the 9th of June, which is on effective tools for therapeutic alliance. We have another study circle for mental health professionals on creating homework assignments, and another. I'm a little sad while saying this. It's the last study circle of the third round of exploring Indian psychology study circle, and it is on exploring emotional wellness tools from the Bhagavad Gita. Lakshmi and Asira ma'am are extremely well read when it comes to Indian psychology, and they're holding these wonderful sessions on Indian psychology. And for the mental health part, Asira ma'am, as you know from the experience, interesting insights, and it's a great way personalized to strengthen your skill sets if you're a budding mental health professional or if you've been practicing in the field for a very long time. We also have a webinar on borderline personality disorder using CBT tools. It is on the 13th, 14th, and 16th of June. Please feel free to check out our social media pages. Lakshmi, can you please add the email and the link tree? So you can
Yes.
check out the link tree for any upcoming event at Athor. And if you have any doubts, please feel free to reach out to the email ID that we are sending. Yes, thank you so much, Radhika. Yes, songs, yes, they're like a roadmap to emotions. For sure, they help you grasp as well as they help you push. So yes, that as well. So we are
Just
mentioning the yeah, no problem. Take your time. So we are mentioning the email ID, which is shiksha@athapsychotherapy.com. Uh, Please reach out to us if in case of any inquiries, any doubts that you might be having on any of the upcoming events at Atha, as well as the link tree, which will give you a full coverage of whatever we've been doing at Atha. Yeah.
uh, is it visible?
No, just a second. I will just copy paste it. Wait. Yes, I think that it is there in the comments now. The email address is in the second comment, which is shiksha@athapsychotherapy.com. Like I said, please feel free to reach out and do check out our social media handles. We come up with evidence based strategies and information to help you out with your everyday lives. So, with that, I think I would like to conclude today's session. Thank you so much for everybody that joined in. And thank you so much, Lakshmi.
Thank you so much, Anuja. It was great talking to you today.
Yes, for sure. Okay, and we'll keep coming up with these interactions and these sessions because they're so much fun to do, and they're also like these bite-sized pieces for our audience to take back home with them. So yes, see you very soon, guys. Bye bye.